Welcome to Matters Financial and Geopolitical from the Frontier. Thank you for stopping by. I hope the week's gone well. It's been rather hot here. That's normally the way it is just before the rains come. It sort of goes up several notches, like 11 in that great film, of whose name I've forgotten, about the rock group. And he keeps insisting that because his amplifier goes to 11, it means it's louder. I can't remember the name. Macro thoughts, ouch, global sell-off in bonds in one picture. US 10-year yields jumped to the highest level since June 1st. This is from Holger. And on the 12th of September, I sort of reiterated my view that my second trade of the year is to buy put options on 10-year bonds. Because this is going to pop, and when it pops, the wizardry won't work anymore. And at that moment, there is going to be one heck of a move, I said. And I had a strong conviction about that. Buy put options on 10-year bonds, essentially. British government bond yields hit the highest since the Brexit vote after latest GDP figures. And I was saying on the 12th of September, investors are now holding bigger positions at these currently artificially suppressed levels. If volatility spikes, positions are going to be reduced en masse. And of course, that gave me an opportunity to quote Hotel California, mirrors on the ceiling, pink champagne on ice. And she said, we're all just prisoners here of our own device. Last thing I remember, I was running for the door. I had to find the passage back to the place I was before. Relax, said the night man. We are programmed to receive. You can check out any time you like, but you can never leave. The sell-off in bonds got as far as Taiwan. Have a look at this Taiwan 10-year bond yield set the biggest monthly gain since 2006. That's from Sherian News. Home thoughts. Above the village of Pasu, a teenager checks his Facebook. Many residents here are a smiley, of which I'm one as well, but I've never been there and I'd love to go. Many residents here are Ismaili followers of a moderate branch of Islam. A sign on the mountain slope commemorates the time in 1987 when the Ismaili Imam, the Aga Khan, must have visited the remote region. That must have been a great time to have been there. Young men and women began leaving to study in these cities, and they came back for summer holiday dressed in new hip fashions. Shops multiplied along the road, selling new spices, sugary snacks and sodas. Biryani rice, a favorite dish from Punjab, now often replaces the traditional turnip soup or buckwheat pancakes during celebrations. Ngugi wa Thiongo, whose favourite book, I must admit, of his is Dreams in a Time of War, which starts like this. Years later, when I read T.S. Eliot's line that April was the cruelest month, I would recall what happened to me one April day in 1954. In Chile, Limuru, and remember that, Limuru, the prime estate of what in 1902 another Eliot, Sir Charles Eliot, then governor of colonial Kenya, had set aside as White Highlands. The day came back to me, the now of it, vividly. I actually drive along the Limuru Road in the morning and in the evening. In the morning I drop off Hannah at her pickup in Gigiri at around 6:10. We actually drive past the US Embassy every morning at 6:10. And on my way to work. And this morning, actually, after I dropped Hannah off and I crossed through Thiongo and I was crawling along and I had the window down. I was looking at the phone because we'd stopped. And all of a sudden, bosh, this hand leans in. And I think I reacted lightning fast, I must say. I was listening to the BBC, well-dressed jogger, reaching in, trying to take my phone. I was lightning fast, pretty impressed with myself actually, and hung on to the phone. He strolled off at a leisurely pace. I thought about jumping out and chasing him. And then, of course, the place I drive by, the US Embassy, why, man asks, stabbing US Embassy guard in Kenya. The shots rang out in front of the American embassy on Thursday afternoon. Bush, Bush. A knife-wielding assailant attacked an armed Kenyan police officer guarding an entrance to the embassy's visa section, which was closed at the time. Witnesses said the assailant had walked up to the officer, pulled out a knife, and began shouting, why? He stabbed the officer in the face, and the officer struggled to push him away. One witness said the men tumbled, with the assailant landing on top of the officer. The officer, a member of the General Services Unit, a paramilitary branch of the Kenyan police entrusted with guarding embassies and other important installations in Kenya, was carrying an assault rifle. He jerked up his weapon and at least 4 shots were fired. Bush, 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 Bush. People jumped behind cars, I can imagine. You actually slow down as you drive by. Others hit the pavement. Some motorists driving past the scene ducked behind their steering wheels. Other police officers sprinted from different directions, their own Kalashnikovs cocked. When the embassy's alarm klaxons started wailing, American diplomats crawled under desks and tables. Duck and cover, the loudspeaker blared out. Get away from the windows. This was a suicide mission, said Boniface Wanyama, a private security guard at an office complex next to the embassy. You attack a GSU officer with a knife. You do that only to kill and be killed. Quite a bit of drama. Go back to T.S. Eliot, The Wasteland. April is the cruelest month, breeding lilacs out of the dead land, mixing memory and desire, stirring dull roots with spring rain. Winter kept us warm, covering earth in forgetful snow, feeding a little life with dried tubers. Summer surprised us, coming over the Starnbergese. With a shower of rain, we stopped in the colonnade and went on in sunlight into the Hofgarten and drank coffee and talked for an hour. You gave me hyacinths first a year ago. They called me the hyacinth girl. Yet when we came back late from the hyacinth garden, your arms full and your hair wet, I could not speak. My eyes failed. I was neither living nor dead, and I knew nothing. Looking into the heart of light, the silence. Old and clear das Meer. T.S. Eliot. Always liked him, I must say. News from Zambia's Kafunta safaris. What a great photograph. This is from Wolfgang. Arches National Park at night in winter along the trail to Landscape Arch and Devil's Garden in Utah. Vladimir Antonov, thanks for that. China's Xi has been anointed a core leader on par with Mao and Deng. And in July last year I was writing about the markets in China where they seem to have calmed them down for now. I was referencing a Quartz article which calls Xi Jinping neo-totalitarian, and I think that's the most apt description I've heard so far. Trump team has 3 major voter suppression operations underway. The unnamed official said the Trump team has 3 major voter suppression operations underway, targeted at 3 distinct groups that Clinton needs for a big electoral victory. Those constituencies are idealistic white liberals, young women and African Americans. Although voter suppression sounds ominous, some on social media were quick to claim the revelation as evidence of illegal action on the part of the Trump campaign. The tactics described are really just advertising that isn't attempting to convert voters to Trump, just turn them away from Clinton. Then a fabulous article in Bloomberg, Inside the Trump Bunker, 12 days to go. On October the 18th, the third and final presidential debate gets going in Las Vegas. Donald Trump's Facebook and Twitter feeds are being manned by Brad Parscale, a San Antonio marketing entrepreneur whose buzz cut and long narrow beard make him look like a mixed martial arts fighter. His Trump tie has been paired with a dark Xenia suit. A lapel pin issued by the Secret Service signals his status. He's equipped with a dashboard of 400 pre-written Trump tweets. Command Center, he says, nodding at his laptop. Parscale is one of the few within Trump's crew entrusted to tweet on his behalf. He's sitting at a long table in a double-wide trailer behind the debate arena, cheek to jowl with his fellow Trump staffers. and Reince Priebus, chairman of the Republican National Committee. The charged atmosphere and rows of technicians staring raptly at giant TVs and computer screens called to mind NASA on launch day. On the wall, a poster of Julian Assange reads, "Dear Hillary, I miss reading your classified emails." And then it describes how he knocks out the tweets. I'll put up a photograph of the campaign staff in Trump Tower and then a photograph of Pascal himself. Looks quite a character. And then I found this photograph of Donald Trump, memories of Donald Trump's wedding to Melania from the New Yorker. Hillary Clinton is considered a racing certainty as we stand. But then, we saw Brexit upended all kind of predictions. But at this stage, I think, bookmakers paying out, which really means that it's a done deal. John Podesta doesn't want to be Clinton's chief of staff. He, of course, has been made famous by WikiLeaks. And I always knew he was a powerful figure for various reasons. But we've discovered the inner workings of the Podesta Empire. Pope Francis accepts church leaders' invitation to visit South Sudan. Very brave man at this point in time. New Cold War chills annual Kremlin gathering of foreign experts. The new Cold War is starting to look a lot like the old one. The Russian and US foreign policy experts at an annual gathering with Kremlin officials this week appear out of ideas on how to even start diffusing it. One senior official told of a cabinet meeting where President Putin reported on a high-risk incident in which his military jets buzzed the US Navy in the Black Sea. When some at the table cheered with phrases like, "They deserve it," Putin shut them down, saying, "Are you crazy?" according to the official, who spoke on Valdai's traditional condition of anonymity. On that note, I'll put up this photograph because I liked it, but it was tweeted by Zakharova. Sergei Lavrov will be making a working visit to Greece. Greece and Italy, obviously, have been helping Russia fend off further sanctions in the European Union. Yemen and the Saudi Game of Thrones is an article by a fellow called Katahan. Saudi Arabia, he says, has suffered a crushing defeat in the Yemen. Saudi Arabia has also been defeated in Syria. It failed to oust Bashar Assad. Saying former Yemeni President Abdullah Ali Saleh stated yesterday that Russia is ready to provide ports and bases for the stationing of Russian soldiers. Controlling Yemen means control over the most important transport artery, the path from the Indian Ocean, Persian Gulf to the Red Sea and the Mediterranean. He's making a valid point, and that it reminds me of Gulliver. They're thrashing against the net. That's what's happening in the Yemen at terrible cost to the Yemenis. Mahmoud Abbas of Fatah met Hamas leaders in Qatar amid talk of Palestinian reconciliation. There are 500 million tweets a day, would you believe, taken together. The hundreds of billions of tweets that have been created over the past 10 years represent a constantly updating corpus of human conversation. Very true. European electricity prices are going crazy, particularly in France, mostly because some nuclear reactors have been switched off. International markets, Brexit doomsayers defied as economy expands and Nissan invests. UK GDP rose 0.5%, beating estimates on services strength. Car giant commits to Sunderland plant with new production. That's a big win. And that's it. You've probably got 3% of extra costs if Britain being out of the European Union in a way of, let's say, 4%, you've had 15% move in the currency. You're better off staying where you are. The UK economy performed better than anyone expected since the vote to leave the European Union, and as a bonus, Nissan affirmed its commitment to the UK with a decision to build 2 new car models at its plant in Sunderland. The internet is down, but the last time I checked, euro was at 109.17, dollar index 98.90, which is a 7-month high, Japanese yen 105.30, Swiss franc 0.9936, the pound 121.74, the Aussie 0.7575, India rupee 66.845, South Korean won 1144.94, the Real 316.56, Egyptian pound 887.92, and the Rand 1386.49. Dollar index, let me put up a 1-year chart. We're now at 98.90. My target from the beginning of the year, get to remember, was 100. So we're nearly there. Dollar yen, it was my trade of the year at the beginning of the year, but I think the yen's going to continue selling off. We're now at 105.31, big move right here. Dollar Canada, keep an eye on this. I think this is going back to 140, last trading 133.90. Paul Virilio's wealth is the hidden side of speed, and speed the hidden side of wealth. Commodity markets gold, last time I looked, 1269. I think it's capped by 1300. There is a report that the Saudis and their Gulf compatriots are willing to cut output by 4%, said John Kilduff. Whether that's enough or not, we'll see. There's increasing amounts of skepticism in this market, which is keeping prices near these multi-week lows. I'll put up a one-year chart of crude oil, and it's just below 50, $49.62. I think you should be selling into the strength of coal prices. And I missed this a little bit, but there's been a huge recovery in industrial commodities. Look at this, coal prices extend gains beyond $100 a tonne. That's Australia, Javier Blas. Oil's Australia coal price rally is now the steepest on record. There it is again, iron ore prices in China close to topping 501 per tonne. Iron ore prices in China are on track for the longest run of gains in 3 years. Let's move on to Sub-Saharan Africa. The Economist is talking about the two-speed Africa. The oil effect African economies are growing at very different speeds. This is on the back of the IMF report we've already spoken about, saying the IMF in its latest survey of the continent, which is published today, regional growth will slow to just 1.4% this year, the most sluggish for 2 decades, saying things look grim in Nigeria, mired in recession. Ivory Coast a short flight away, thundering along at a growth rate of 8%. Similar contrasts are found across the continent. Better to talk of two Africas, says the IMF, moving at different speeds. And that's why it's so important to be at the right place at the right time. And the revolutionary contingent who attains its ideal form, not in the place of production, but in the street, must be hoping the same. South African all share down, up 0.88% this year. Dollar Rand stabilizing at 13.89. Gordon is winning, in my honest opinion, and hence the recent stability in the Rand. The best quote that I heard from him was in London at the FT Africa conference when Lionel Barber was describing how he met Julius Malema once in a safe house in the Kruger National Park. And Gordon turns to Barber and says, "Welcome to the underground." Indeed, he's proving to be quite adept at navigating his way through the underground. They go on TV and say Egypt is rising and the poor citizen cannot find a kilo of rice on the streets, as a tuk-tuk driver. Austerity measures beginning to bite there. Another black market record for the plunging Egyptian currency, and you look at the official rate and think nothing's changing, but this is the point, that this unofficial rates, and the width of the difference, I think, is a signal of the economic dysfunction. That's a very clear, easy way to calculate. Egyptian EGX 30 plus 19.09% this year. Nigerian all shares down 4.91% this year. The Ghana Stock Exchange Composite Index down 12.85% this year. Divorce judge asks what Africa's youngest billionaire is worth. Ashish Thakkar, who co-founded Africa banking conglomerate Atlas Mara with ex-Barclays PLC head Bob Diamond, is a 35-year-old billionaire whose divorce fight has been prolonged thanks to a complex web of offshore assets. The question of how much Thakkar is worth, he says $544,000, while his wife claims his wealth is far greater, is coming under scrutiny in a UK divorce court. Now, quite a bit of drama in Kenya. Nakumatt is now saying they're in talks at an advanced stage to sell a 25% stake or more to an investor. I don't think that's going to be possible. I think it'll have to be a complete full sale, because otherwise I think events might overrun them. Supermarkets in turmoil as heavy debt load weighs. It's an article in Business Daily, links on Rich Wrap. I'm just going to have a look. Nakumatt have issued a corporate statement. Have a look at that. Talking about cash flow challenges as several suppliers hold back goods, says in talks with international financiers to pump in cash. Links are all there. Now, this has been rumoured for quite a while. Checks were bouncing a few weeks ago. They were borrowing at humongous rates in the commercial paper market, which has been a remarkably good early warning signal, I've got to admit. But it doesn't bode well And it speaks to a dissonance between 6% GDP growth and what's happening on the ground. Safaricom put out a position statement on customer complaints regarding premium rates services. Carbacid has reported full-year earnings per share down 5.161%. Turnover was up 2.722%. Operating profit was down 1.5%. Profit before tax was down 5.637%. Dividend unchanged at 70 cents. EPS down 5.161%. Trades on a trading P of 10.238. They were lapping some extraordinary gains that they took the previous year, and when you strip those out, it actually looks pretty resilient in performance. Marshalls, which has the Peugeot franchise, I think still, market cap is $1.18 million. They reported full year earnings. It's a loss again, as it has been for a number of years. Shareholder funds, they're calculating at 241 million cash and cash equivalents at the end of the year, just 7.94 million. Not very much. Olympia Capital Holdings as well has reported. They've reported a small profit. Market cap is $1.3 million. According to reports, up to 100 Royal Media employees will lose their jobs. This is Nairobi Wire. Media is cutting back quite sharply. Nairobi Orchard down 6.09% this year. NSE 20 down 20.77% this year. KQ all over the shop. Obviously had this stunning rebound through yesterday morning. Reported these first half earnings, which we all knew about anyway. Met some profit taking, but interestingly was trading unchanged on the day at the close, and it's trading up today, I noticed. So maintaining its positive momentum, and I think it's going to go higher, about to 10 bob actually.